And call this regular meeting of the East Peoria City Council to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Here.
Hill?
Here.
Mingus?
Here.
Sutherland?
Here.
Mayor Call?
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please rise for the invocation. Remain standing for the pledge.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We pray you show us the way so that we can replace fear with calm, replace anxiety with fear or faith, and replace uneasiness with peace. We ask that you watch over all those fighting illness and the care of all first responders and the healthcare workers during this challenging times. Our Lord, your power is unlimited and your strength has no end. Let us all pull together as a community and be strong. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Decker?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move that the City Council recess the regular meeting to hold a public hearing.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Mingus, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Very good. The purpose of this public hearing is a public hearing on the proposed annual appropriation ordinance and working cash budget for the fiscal year May 1, 2020 to April 30th, 2020. I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Becker here. Would you like to walk us through this, Jeff?
If there's any questions or anything we can answer for anybody regarding the appropriation ordinance or the working cash budget, we can do that now.
Just real quick, Jeff, would you mind explaining so the public and the commissioners understand the difference between the appropriation and the working cash budget?
Sure. So the annual appropriation ordinance is what we turn into the county, which is the official document that sets the limit of what we can spend. It's listed by account number and then by department. The working cash budget is just that, it's a working budget, so we can modify that as the year goes. It doesn't get turned into the county or filed anywhere. It's just a working document that we use.
And I just to add, as we all sit here tonight, we see what's going on around us. So most certainly the appropriation budget obviously would very unlikely ever hit that number. It's exactly what Mr. Becker explained it to be. The working cash budget, no different than any other municipality and likely the state. When all is said and done, we don't know where we're going to land. So most likely some of what you see in there this evening will likely be revisited in the very near future. So, but we still have to move forward with conduct the city's business, and it's the appropriate thing to do. And I'd open it up to any questions or comment any of the commissioners have before we open it up for public comment.
One thing I have to say that echoes the same thing is that the appropriation is really the maximum that we can spend, assuming that the revenues are there, and the budget or the cash is more likely what we may spend, and that's again the maximum. So.
I personally, Mayor, was happy with the process. I thought it went well. I thought everybody did a good job of trying to work together. What's going on right now is a bit scary, and I think we all recognize that we have to make sure that that we can meet the needs of the community. So look forward, unfortunately, to having those conversations as well.
Commissioners?
Yeah, all I got to say is this is my first city budget, and I've learned a lot, and these guys helped a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, and I'll say, you know, the budget, and I know we've talked about it over the course of the last couple months here. You know, it is a balanced budget. Incorporated in that budget was a 5-year capital plan with the first year built into this budget. This is all subject to change, obviously. Just to let the public be aware, the city realizes the, you know, the state of the state, if you will, which affects our city and the recent decisions at the state level down to the local level. So I just want everyone to be aware that we are running a very tight ship during this time. We will be spending no monies outside of those that are necessary to spend until we see where we come out on the backside of this. So we're being very vigilant and prudent with our expenditures, and I just want to thank the staff and all the city employees for being flexible at this time. I understand these are, extraordinary times that we've not seen before, so we're being very cautious with our monies and conducting the city's business. So with that, I would ask if there's anyone in the audience that wishes to comment on the appropriation or the working cash budget, please come forward. Seeing no one. Very good. I'd seek a motion to adjourn the public hearing to reconvene the regular meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that the City Council of the City of East Peoria adjourn the public hearing and reconvene the regular meeting of the City Council.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus. Roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you, very good. Approval of the minutes, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the minutes of the regular meeting held on March 3rd, 2020 be approved as printed.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Very good, thank you. Commissioner Hill.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a consent agenda consisting of items numbered 1 through 4. Item number 1, adoption of resolution number 1920-126, resolution to approve a payment of scheduled bills listed on schedule number 21 in the amount of $2,217,168.23. Item number 2, adoption of resolution number 1920-121 on its second reading, resolution accepting the lowest responsible bids for the Public Safety Building Emergency Power Generator Replacement Project. Item number 3, adoption of resolution number 1920-120 on its second reading, resolution approving a 2-year mower rental agreement with Martin Sullivan, Inc. for the mowing of city-owned properties and right-of-ways. Item number 4, adoption of ordinance number 4491 on its second reading, and ordinance authorizing a special use for property located at 4200 East Washington Street in the city of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, to allow the outdoor storage of garbage dumpsters on the property, as listed on the agenda for this meeting to be considered by omnibus vote.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
Your Honor, before you
Yep.
vote on that, did
I
did I
s-
miss it? Did you?
No,
solicit comments?
I was going to do it afterwards
sir.
because I realized that I accidentally skipped I went from the audience participation in the public hearing, and I should have started off with that in the regular, so I'll do it as soon as we're done with the. Did you second that, Commissioner Decker?
I did.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye,
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that items number 1 through 4 listed on the consent agenda be hereby approved and adopted, and items number 2 through 4, having been read once by their title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call?
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Before Commissioner Hill goes forward, and I'd like to give anyone that has a question or a comment in the audience to address the council on an agenda item, please step forward, and that includes the consent agenda. And I do apologize, I'm out of sorts here. Seeing no one. Okay, Commissioner Hill.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I have 9 items tonight, 1 read at length. So, Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4493 hereto attached, an annual appropriation ordinance for the city of East Peoria, Illinois for the fiscal year for the first day of May AD 2020 to the last day of April AD 2021 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title, be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
Okay, as we discussed, again, this is the appropriation. This is the maximum that we're saying we can, it's a statutory requirement that we pass the appropriations ordinance by the first quarter of our fiscal year. So again, we're ahead of schedule, we're on time, and that's what this is, the appropriation. That's it.
Very good. Any other comments from the council? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that Resolution 1920-124 hereto attached, a resolution to approve the working cash budget for the fiscal year for the first day of May AD 2020 and the last day of April AD 2021 be approved. Mr. Mayor, move you that this Resolution 1920-124 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
Again, this is our working cash budget, as we previously mentioned. Again, there will be a close eye as we move forward with all the uncertainty that's occurring right now. So it's obviously going to affect our revenues, and therefore it'll most likely affect our expenses.
Well said. Any other comments from the council? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move the ordinance number 4490 hereto attached, an ordinance authorizing and providing for the issuance of not to exceed $7,100,000 taxable general obligation refunding bonds, target area business district tax alternate revenue source, Series 2020A, and $2,820,000 taxable general obligation refunding bonds, Costco area business district tax alternate revenue source, Series 2020B of the City of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, for the purpose of refunding certain outstanding alternate revenue bonds of said city, authorizing the execution of a bond order in connection therewith, pledging certain revenues of said city, and authorizing the sale of bonds to Morton Community Bank. Having been read once by its title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
Second reading of this, explain the analogy of refinancing your home mortgage. It's similar here. We're reissuing bonds. The bond market improved. I'm not sure what it's done in the last week. So this, again, this ordinance is authorizing us to move a little quicker. We done one earlier this year, and by the time we sold, the market had adjusted. We still met our minimums, or well met our minimums, but we didn't make as much on the previous sale as this one. So this allows us, because these bonds they were held by Morton Community Bank and are going to be reissued to Morton Community Bank, we can move quicker with this ordinance in place.
Well
Mr.
said.
Becker, anything to add on that?
Nope, perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. Commissioners, any comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, move you the ordinance number 4492, hereto attached, ordinance establishing special service area 2019A in the City of East Peoria and approving special service area 2019A project to improve Access Road 6, the funding of road improvements to Access Road 6, and the levying of property tax against those properties benefited by the road improvements. Having been read once by its title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
Again, this is second reading, Access Road 6. We had some property owners and businesses on Access Road 6 approach the city and ask about a special service area for improving the road on Access Road 6. We started this process in September, and we had a public hearing. Following the public hearing, it required 60 days to allow for comment or allow for comment, and that ended at our prior meeting. And so this is the second reading, which will allow that project to move forward. And as the description stated, this is a special service area, and there will be a tax levy assessment against the properties, and this will be for improving the road on Access Road 6. Ty?
We met with the property owners last week, and they're ready to get going. So I'd say in the next 30 to 45 days, this road's going to get done, and very excited to see this happen because it's needed it for a long time.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any comments?
I'm glad to see this get going. They have talked about it, I think 5, 6 years, wanting to get something done.
Very good. Roll call?
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, bear with me, Mr. Mayor, we've had 5 more. Mr. Mayor, I move the ordinance number 4495, here to attach an ordinance amending the East Peoria City Code to establish emergency powers of mayor during emergency and crisis situations, be read at length by the clerk, and that said ordinance number 4495 be accepted on its first reading and hereby adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
Madam Clerk?
Whereas from time to time, the city of East Peoria may be faced with an emergency or crisis event from natural, technological, or human-generated causes, and whereas during such emergency or crisis events, the city must be able to respond with immediate action in order to protect the safety, public health, property of the citizens of East Peoria and the general public at large, and whereas Section 11-1-6 of the Illinois Municipal Code, 65 ILCS 5/11-1-6 allows the city council by ordinance to extend emergency powers to the mayor during an emergency or crisis event, and whereas the city council finds that it is in the best interest of the city, its citizens, and the general public to establish under the city code the authority of the mayor to quickly and immediately take action on behalf of the city to address the emergency or crisis event as provided herein. Now therefore be it ordained by the council of the city of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, that Section 1, new Section 2.4 is hereby added to Title 1, Chapter 3 of the East Peoria City Code as follows. 1-3-2.4 Emergency Power of the Mayor. A, in the event of a natural, technological, or human-caused event that warrants a coordinated city response to protect lives, property, public health, and safety, the mayor shall have the power to declare an emergency as provided herein. State of emergency or crisis exists when one or more of the following conditions are present or imminent. 1, the governor of the state of Illinois or the president of the United States has declared a state of emergency, and the conditions giving rise to that declared state of emergency directly affect the territory, populace, or property of the city. 2, a natural disaster, act of war, act of rebellion, or terrorism, or cyber attack has overwhelmed or imminently threatened to overwhelm the ability of the emergency responders or public health officials to safely, adequately, or efficiently respond to the needs of the city or protect the safety of its residents. 3, a pandemic or health emergency or natural disaster makes it unsafe or imprudent for non-essential city personnel to report to work or for a quorum of city council to meet, or for other foreseen circumstances of the like kind or severity arise and affect the safety or welfare of the residents, employees, or officers of the city. B, the mayor shall make a declaration of emergency by signing under oath statement consisting of the following. 1, finding that the standards for declaring an emergency or crisis have been met. 2, setting forth those facts supporting the finding of an emergency or crisis event. 3, describing the nature of the emergency or crisis event. And 4, declaring that a state of emergency exists. Such a statement shall be filed with the city clerk as soon as practicable. C, upon making the declaration of emergency, the mayor shall have and may exercise the following emergency powers in relation to the emergency or crisis situation in relation to continuing city operations during the emergency or crisis situation for a period of time not to exceed the earlier of 1, 14 days following the declaration of emergency, 2, such date as a quorum of city council is convened to conduct public business, or 3, adjournment of the first regular city council meeting following the declaration of emergency, the emergency period, provided, however, that the lapse of the emergency power shall not, as regards to any act or acts occurring or taken within the emergency period or any extension thereof, deprive any person, firm, corporation, political subdivision, or body politic of any right or rights to compensation or reimbursement which they may have under the provisions of this section. 1, to enter into contracts, incur obligations, employ temporary workers, rent equipment, purchase supplies and materials, and appropriate expenditures and dispose of public funds and property as necessary. 2, to suspend the provisions of any regulatory ordinance prescribing procedures for conduct of city business or the orders and rules of any city agency. Strict compliance with the provisions would in any way prevent, hinder, or delay necessary action, including emergency purchases. 3, to utilize all available resources of the city government as reasonably necessary. 4, to transfer the direction, personnel, or functions of city departments and agencies or units thereof for the purpose of performing or facilitating response and recovery programs. 5, to recommend the evacuation of of all or part of the population from any stricken or threatened area within the city if the mayor deems this action necessary. 6, to prescribe routes, modes of transportation, and destination in connection with evacuation. 7, to control ingress and egress to and from a disaster area, the movement of persons within the area, and the occupancy of premises therein. 8, to make provision for the availability and use of temporary emergency housing. D, upon the mayor issuing the declaration of emergency herein authorized, the chief of police or his designee shall notify the news media serving the city and shall cause 3 copies of declaration of emergency to be posted at the following places within the city: City Hall, the police station, and the post office. Section 2, this ordinance is hereby ordered to be published in pamphlet form by the East Peoria City Clerk, and said clerk is ordered to keep at least 3 copies hereof available for public inspection in the future in accordance with the Illinois Municipal Code. Section 3, this ordinance is in addition to all other ordinances on the subject, shall be construed therewith excepting as to that part in direct conflict with any other ordinance, and in the event of such conflict, the provisions hereof shall govern. Section 4, if any section, paragraph, clause, or provision of this ordinance shall be held invalid, the invalidity of such action, of such section, paragraph, clause, or provision shall not affect any of the other provisions of this ordinance. Section 5, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage, approval, and 10-day period of publication in the manner provided by law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The unprecedented times that we're experiencing right now, we've got the federal and state level declaring emergencies, and we come to find we do not have an Emergency Powers Act on our city ordinances, so that's what this is. Again, to ensure that the city services are continued in the event that the city council can't be quorum, the city council can't be called. This gives the powers to the mayor to make sure that the resources and services of our city continue in the event of an emergency situation.
Any other comments from the council?
Mayor, often governments are criticized for not acting quick enough, and this is one of those things that gives the mayor the authority to make sure that we can act quick enough when necessary. Obviously, there's been some question about it come up because some of the other communities have done it as well. But it's not something that it would be taken lightly if it were enacted. Hopefully, it will never become necessary, but I certainly support if it would become necessary.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioners?
I agree with Commissioner Decker. I will support this. I've seen in the news that other communities are supporting similar ordinances. I know at school we have a similar one that we will be approving at our, or at least I'll be putting on the agenda for our next board meeting. I think it's appropriate. It's a time where who would have thought we'd be where we are right now 2 weeks ago, and you never know where we're going to be in order to make sure that the city's ready to go in case there is an emergency. I think giving the mayor the ability to make those decisions is the appropriate thing to do.
Yes, I'm going to agree with this. Things are moving awful fast here, and we need to be able to move just as fast. I'm not happy with the direction that some of these decisions have been going, but I understand that it's in all good faith. So, yeah, I'm in support of this.
Well, obviously, it has to do with my position. I will abstain, but just a couple of quick comments. I know the original copy of this that went out with the agenda had an additional provision, which has been quite controversial with some other municipalities that have already approved such an ordinance earlier this week or last week. And I did ask for one of those provisions to be removed, and that has to do with firearms, ammunition, and whatnot. That's for a different conversation and something I personally would never support, and I didn't want to ask the commissioners to support that either. So the amended version that we're going to approve tonight does not include that language. So just for the record. Roll call?
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Abstain.
I have 4 ayes and 1 abstention, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that Resolution 1920-122, hereto attached, resolution approving the purchase of light fixtures related to the public safety parking lot upgrade project from Springfield Electric Supply Company in the amount of $6,360.16, Be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution 1920-122 be accepted on its first reading as read by the title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
This is another good example. The public safety building, so it's our main police and firehouse. 9 years ago, the lights were replaced, and at the time, LEDs weren't a feasible option. And I think it's another good example of our Director of Facilities. Here is the savings. We're going to expect a 73% savings to the tune of $3,276 annually. And then one thing we don't talk about a lot is the environmental impact of 105,909 pounds of CO2 that this is also going to save. So the project, which here is quoted at $6,360 and some change, there's an Ameren Energy Savings Program that will be providing $3,961.75. So the city's cost is just $23.98 and 41 cents. So the return on the investment there is 13 months. So again, I think it's a project that, again, we've slowly throughout the city replaced many, if not most of all of our lights with LEDs and have become more efficient. And so this project is definitely well worth it.
Well said. Comments from the council? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 1920123-123 hereto attached, a resolution to approve the acquisition of an ice machine for Asian carp fishing operation on the Illinois River be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution number 1920-123 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
What we have here, I'll turn it over to Ty in just a second. What we have here is Ty's worked on putting together, bringing the IDNR with a business. And IDNR, well, we've got member initiative funds that is expected to pay for this ice machine. So we are sort of, I would say, brokering the deal between the IDNR, the business, and again, it's a much-needed operation that they may start pulling some Asian carp out of the Illinois River and doing something with them. And the details of this is that, one, if the member initiative doesn't come through, neither does the ice machine. And if the member initiative money is not sufficient to cover the ice machine, we also are not picking up any difference. So this is dependent on the member initiative money to pay for this. Ty?
So this is a very unusual resolution, admittedly, and the situation right now is that actually there are Asian carp being harvested out of the river. As I understand it, almost 900,000 pounds have been removed as of the end of February. So in a 2-month time frame, IDNR has finally started supporting the fishermen in collecting these fish. There's a great way to harvest them and for everybody to make some money out of them. So that's, I think, something we're focusing on here. The purchase of the ice machine is really kind of a timely matter. It's if the member initiative funds come through and if one of these machines becomes available. These are not your standard motel ice machines. This is a pretty substantial, it's like a large ice cream maker, but it makes a lot of ice, and this would be to facilitate the fishermen going out in the warmer weather months. So it's not needed immediately today, but will be shortly as the weather starts to turn. So as you had mentioned, there's a couple of trip points that have to happen. The funds have to become available. The machine has to become available. The city's not going to be on the hook to expend any of its funds. It's going to be a matter of streamlining that process, that if this went through the typical process to acquire the machine, it would take several months to get it, and we would miss a whole harvest season to capture the fish. So this is a kind of our opportunity for us to play a role and have an operation here in East Peoria, very minimal processing, but a great opportunity nonetheless for the city and for improving the situation in the Illinois River.
Thank you, Ty.
Comments from the council? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4494, hereto attached, ordinance authorizing the selling process by sealed bid for city-owned surplus real estate located at 136 Johnson Street in the city of East Peoria, Illinois, be accepted on its first reading as read by its title, be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
You've heard, many people have heard us say that when we have excess property or property that's in our possession, we look to return it to a productive use. And here's a lot on 136 Johnson that we're trying, that we want to do that. In this particular case, we're going the sealed bid route, and then you'll see on the next resolution, we're actually have another property. Again, these are blank, vacant properties, vacant lots that we will be using to sell by realtors. So in this particular case, it's asking for authorization to sell this by sealed bid.
Well said. Any comments from the council? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker,
Aye.
Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that Resolution 1920-128, hereto attached, a resolution authorizing the selling process for city-owned surplus real estate located at 127 Canterbury Court in the City of East Peoria, Illinois, be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that the resolution number 1920-128 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
Okay, this is the other property that I just alluded to in the previous case, where this one will be sold by realtor, and part of the details there, anytime that we sell it, we cannot accept anything less than 80% of the appraised value, and it has not yet, to my knowledge, been appraised, because this is the authorization to move forward in that process.
Comments from the council? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker,
Aye.
Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Commissioner Decker.
I have nothing at this time, Mayor.
Very good. Commissioner Sutherland.
I got a couple things this week, sir. First thing is, may it be resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 1920-125, hereto attached, a resolution approving the city's purchase of pipe and other main installation materials for the Farmdale Road Water Main Extension Project from Corin, Maine, in the amount of $10,331.95 be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move that this resolution number 1920-125, having been read once by its title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
This has to do with a extension of a pipeline for water extension down Farmdale Road. It was started and approved verbally by the last administration, and it was started when I came on board and laid there, and then I just wanted to get it wrapped up before Dennis Barron had left to take his other position where he's at now, and it didn't quite get done, and then I assigned the project to our new man, Cord Chrysler, who did a very good job of getting it done, and this wraps it up then, and this is probably one of the last things left over that I can think of anyhow from the last administration that I'm involved with.
Okay, comments from the council?
I'll say, Mayor, when I first heard about this, I don't believe it was something that we would usually do. Having said that, it was a decision made by a previous person. Therefore, I support going ahead, completing it, and moving forward from here.
I concur with both commissioners. This $10,331.95, this project will be paid for out of line item 5055017070. And this is for materials only. I believe the labor side was on us, correct?
The labor side was entirely on us, yes, sir.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
And they did a great job, too, by the way.
Yeah, good. Roll call?
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, my last item that I have is a separation agreement for retirement. Whereas Tim Hukel has been continuously employed by the city from March 1st, the year 2000 through March 31st, 2020, most recently occupying the position of foreman in the water department. Whereas Tim Hukel has announced his intention to retire from employment effective at the end of the day on March 31st, 2020. And whereas the city is appreciative of the long and continued service provided by Tim Hukel, and as whereas it is in the best interest of the city to execute the attached separation agreement. Now therefore it be resolved by the council of the city of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, that Section 1, the above, help me out here.
You need your cheaters?
Yeah. Recitals are found to be true and correct. Section 2, the mayor is hereby authorized to execute the separation agreement with such changes as the mayor in his sole discretion may decide are in the best interest of the city of East Peoria. Mr. Mayor, I move you that the resolution number 1920-127 be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
Tim has been, as I read, with the city from the year 2000, and I've known Tim for the better part of that 20 years. Tim is one of the most honorable, good men that East Peoria has had in its employment. They can't get any better than this guy, and I'm going to miss him.
Commissioners?
I'll echo that, Mayor. Tim is, I've been employed for quite a while. Tim's one of those guys, Public Works, that I've known for a long time. And he is just a quality person all around, a great hard worker, someone that you can always trust when he tells you something is true. He's just a good person. It was a surprise. I didn't know he was, I could have expected it, but I didn't know he was so going to retire. And people like him, losing people like him it leaves a big hole in the city. So we'll work hard to try to fill that, but it's tough to find somebody as high quality as he is.
Well said. Commissioners, anything else? I just want to personally thank Tim for his 20 years of service to our city. Wish him well in his new endeavor. This separation agreement will be paying out one installment of $8,439 on or before April 30th, 2020. He's got 217.5 hours on the books that we'll be paying him out. But wish him the best of luck moving forward with his new life, so hope he enjoys it. Roll call?
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Very good. Public comment. Anyone in the audience wish to address the council on a non-agenda item? Anything you wish to discuss, please step forward. Seeing no one. Okay. Comments from the council. Commissioner Decker?
Yes, I know, Mayor, you're going to talk about some of the things going on right now. I will say the term tough decisions are thrown around a lot by government officials, and sometimes I agree and sometimes I don't. What's going on right now certainly is filled with very tough decisions. It is, watching some of the press conferences of people that have made some hard decisions, you can tell the thought process that's gone through their minds in coming to grips with the decision that they're making. I respect those decisions, may not agree with all of them, but I do respect them. It's very difficult to make the decisions that we do. I think everybody that's watching this connected to the city of East Peoria, remember Mayor Call, and I guess any of us could be put in that position, but coming in the future, we never know what types of decisions could come up. So it's a very tough time, and those decisions are not easy and affects a lot of people's lives. But I do respect him. I think he'll make very good decisions, and I trust the ones that he'll make. I do want to say I remembered that since our last council meeting, we had the knowledge of, and I think she died that day, but Berta Dinkins passed away. Berta was an employee for the city for a long, long time. I've known Berta since I was a little kid, and she, mentioning Tim a minute ago, she was just a great employee. I can't remember exactly, 40-plus years she worked for the city of East Peoria, last serving as city clerk. And so I think Morgan has about 35 years to go before she can retire. And she's just one of those really good people. She lived a great life, very conservative life. Everyone had nothing but respect for her. She will be missed.
Well said. Commissioner Hill?
Yeah, I want to echo a little bit, same thing that Commissioner Decker. You know, we're in tough times, and so there's definitely tough decisions going on now. Again, I don't agree with them all, but I think if we, stay calm, go about practice, following some of the practices that are being suggested that are very simple, but very effective, that we'll make it through this, and we'll be all right, and we'll be okay.
Well said. Commissioner Sutherland?
I got a couple things to you. On a light note, I went down to Champaign February 22nd and had the honor of watching our young high school athletes wrestle in the state wrestling match. And Levi Robinson was one that represented East Peoria. Tristan Westbay was another. And my nephew Caleb Collins, who came in second place, runner-up for heavyweight. So I wish them all the best. I think that we have colleges looking at all three of these young men. I think they're going to do well. I, too, have known Berta for a long time. She was in the city for several mayors. I had a lot to do with her during my young life coming up and through the system, and she smacked me around with some guiding hands more than once, and she is going to be missed. One last thing, and that is that I know that our local restaurants, we've got a lot invested in our local restaurants, and our local restaurants have a lot invested in us. And one of the things that me and mine are going to start doing here in town, patronizing East Peoria restaurants for the carry-out and the delivery as much as possible, and that will probably make Angie very happy at home that the cooking is going to be down to a minimal, but it's so hard to get anything out of the grocery stores right now, and it's sometimes maybe a little bit unsafe during these circumstances, but I think that it would be kind of smart for us to all take a look at it, maybe grabbing something from a local restaurant on the way home more than often during these times of need, to keep their doors open for their employees to be able to come back in the future, because that's where it stands now, and that's where I stand. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Mings?
Echo a lot of what the other commissioners said with regards to what's going on with the coronavirus or COVID-19. There's not a lot I've thought about as they were talking what I would say, and there's not a lot that I can add to that other than I would encourage everybody to educate themselves, not fall into seeing false rumors or things that get passed along on social media that may or may not be true, and just remain calm. I agree with Commissioner Hill. We'll get through this. The city will get through this, and I agree with Commissioner Sutherland. It saddens me to see we've got a lot of businesses that have invested a lot in our community, and we've invested a lot in them, that we can't go and patronize them, at least not going in and eating. So I think to encourage as many people to go out and give them the business they can is the best thing to do.
Well said. So before I get into my comments, I want to defer to Mr. Triggs.
Thank you, Your Honor. I asked the mayor before the meeting if I could make a couple comments about Berta Dinkins, not knowing that Commissioner Decker and Commissioner Sutherland would speak to Berta. It was 2 weeks ago, the same time as the city council met, that the Berta died. She worked for the city for 42 years, and out of those 42 years, I worked with her very closely for about 26 of those years. If you do that, you get to know a person pretty well. And those who know Berta or had much contact with the city would understand that the city was pretty much city and her family, pretty much everything to her. She didn't live very far from City Hall. She worked enormous hours. The city of East Peoria was in her heart, and we exchanged confidences over the years. People like that make a city run. And I noted somewhere along the line, I don't know what the occasion was, but if you think about it, the city clerk, to a large extent, is the personification of the city. That's the first contact for many, many citizens and for outsiders. And her predecessor, of course, was Lindy Arnold, who was city clerk for decades. So Lindy and Berta, and now I dare say Morgan Cadwalder, they represent the city, not from a legal standpoint, they're the contact. And many, many people, that's the first contact they have with the city. So it becomes critical for the reputation and ultimately the success of a city that the city clerk is a person of great integrity. And this city has been blessed with that, with the last two clerks, and I think with the current clerk. So that's a long time to work with somebody. I will say this, that as much as she loved the city of East Peoria, she loved its employees maybe a little bit more. And there are dozens, if not hundreds, of people out there who, former employees of this city, who went to Berta in times of stress and times of need, and she was there for them. And sometimes she wanted to do some things for employees. I had to say, I don't think we can do that, Berta. But she was always their advocate. And I don't know, for people in this room, how many of you, I forget when people started working for the city, but some of you know what I'm saying to be true. So I told the mayor before the meeting that I thought I'd be remiss as having been associated with the city now for, I forget, for 35 years, if I didn't take this occasion to recognize Berta. She was an absolutely wonderful, wonderful lady, and I miss her already. Thank you.
Well said, Mr. Triggs. 42 years, 1968 to 2010, she served the city and served the city very well and its employees very well. I didn't have the privilege of meeting her. I wish I would have, but what Commissioner Decker and Mr. Triggs and Commissioner Sutherland stated about her are all qualities that everybody's echoed the same sentiment over this last couple of weeks. So she will be greatly missed, and we appreciate all the years of service she provided to us. So let's go on to some other things here. Everybody take a deep breath. We're all in this together. It's going to be okay. We will get through it. We're in some unprecedented times, not just in this state, but in this nation. You know, 29 years ago today, I had the privilege of landing in Ireland on my way back from the Gulf War, and our Marine unit was asked to debark shortly after midnight on St. Patrick's Day. Had no idea where we were, had no idea what to expect, but we got off the plane to find some Irishmen lined up with some good old Irish beer. We hadn't had a beer in nearly 7 months, so I'm only bringing that up because it goes to show you life happens. You know, you can go from one extreme to the other. What we're dealing with today, we take seriously. You know, some people have questioned, well, where are our city leaders? Why aren't they out in public telling us what to do? We garner our information about the same time as the rest of the folks. The difference is on the backside of this, we're trying to fit all the pieces together and keep the city moving, protecting our employees, protecting our residents, protecting our businesses. As everybody has seen this play out, a week ago today, we were having different conversations. So that's how quickly things can change here. But we're taking a measured approach. I think it's the right approach. Throughout the day, just the last 2 days in particular, things have evolved so quickly and have changed so much. And I think it's just the prudent thing to do is to sit back and allow some of these things to take place and come up for air and make a sound decision as to what we need to do as a city. So I've released 3 memos publicly over the course of the last 4 days. And today, I released a memo that went out to our food and beverage business community. Because as Commissioner Sutherland pointed out, these are some tough times. I'm going to respect the decisions that have been made to date. At the end of the day, we live with them. I'd like to think that the people that made the decisions that landed us here as we're talking about it did so for the right reasons. And as all we're trying to do is work through them the best way we can. So our businesses, we received some clarification on the food side and the beverage side, meaning the alcoholic liquor sales. So everything is designed to be off-premise consumption. So what does that mean? So we've got the governor's executive order. We've got some clarification that came in through the Illinois Liquor Commission today, and we have also received clarification from the health departments. So please keep in mind, we want to practice precautionary measures to protect everybody's health, but on the same time, this everybody includes the employees that are employed, the businesses that are here that keep the economic engine turning. They're still open. They're just open on a limited basis. There's no dining inside the business, but there's still carryout, there's still curbside pickup, there's still home delivery, there's still third-party delivery. So I released publicly today, and we've done I appreciate Ty's support, Morgan's support, and the Chamber of Commerce support, because these hard chargers went out this afternoon to touch as many businesses as they can to offer clarification, as we know it today, to keep their businesses afloat. So please keep in mind, we need to frequent these businesses to help them stay here in our community, help them get through this, no different than we do on a personal level, no different than alcohol sales. So a lot of authority was given at the local level to allow for drive-through, curbside, and home delivery, third-party delivery, based on their liquor license, what's applicable by law. So as a city, we've made a concerted effort to do what we can to protect our businesses and allow, to the extent of the law that within our authority, these folks to carry on with their businesses as much as they can. So I ask those to keep that in mind as we all struggle through this. And I applaud everybody. I applaud this council. I applaud the department heads, the staff. Each day is going to be a little different. We don't know what tomorrow brings. And when tomorrow gets here, we'll adapt accordingly. We'll make any necessary changes to make sure that we're in lock and step and do the right things in the best interest of our community. And rest assured, I can promise you, we will continue to do that. So I appreciate everybody being flexible and understanding. These are extraordinary times, as I said earlier, and we're doing our best to protect the public and protect the businesses that serve our community, and we will continue to do our best moving forward. Lastly, going into what a lot of folks may have already heard, I know the city of Peoria, the county of Peoria, Tazewell County, the village of Morton have all prepared based on the state declaring itself a disaster area with the feds. You're going to see tomorrow some declarations coming out on behalf of those entities. We'll see where we're going to go tomorrow. I'm not prepared to make any announcements. I'm just going to sit back and see. Those disaster declarations, I can't stress enough, are simply for them to track their expenses incurred as we navigate through this. We have to keep track of those in case we seek reimbursement on the backside. So I don't want to alarm anybody when they see those words and they say, oh my goodness, here we go. The key to our approach is please remain calm. We'll get through it. There's no need to panic. We're all in it together. There's a lot of smart people working together to see through it. And brighter days are ahead. We'll get through it. So I appreciate everybody's patience and flexibility, and appreciate your time this evening. So that's all I have. Seek a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn until Tuesday evening, April 7th, 2020, at 6 p.m.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. Discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Till we meet again, we are adjourned.